on, guys? My name is Adam, and this is a ranking video. Dwayne Johnson, or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I'm going to give you guys my top 10 favorite movies starring the great one known as The Rock. Let's start talking about his films right now.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Again, guys, if this is your first time on the channel, I love talking about movies, ranking them, reacting to them, talking about them, having great conversations about some of our favorite characters and movies in cinema. So if you like that kind of stuff, make sure you join the conversation by smashing that subscribe button, or actually giving the big people's elbow to that subscribe button right now and joining the conversation. But yes, I am a wrestling fan as well, and I used to watch The Rock kick a lot of butt during the Attitude Era. He used to layeth the smack down on all the candy asses in the wrestling ring, and now in Hollywood, he's one of the biggest stars, laying the smack down on the box office as well. And I'm going to give you guys my 10 favorite films with The Rock in it. However, he's been in so many movies, and I want to mention on this list. So let's start off with some honorable mentions. We're going to kick off my honorable mention list with The Other Guys. He's a very minor part in the beginning of the movie, but you can't help but smile every time you see him. He was also Hercules, and that wasn't a great movie, but he was kind of cool as Hercules. I'm going to throw that in there as well. He was the Scorpion King, his very first outing as the Scorpion King, not the Mummy Returns Scorpion King, but his standalone film, Scorpion King. And also, he played a paranoid character in Southland Tales, which was really cool to see him play this character, and it was definitely different, something that does not get talked about today at all. Also, a character that I gotta mention, Be Cool. He plays this bodyguard who he wants to be a singer, and you're not woman enough to take his man. And I'll explain why right now.
'Cause you ain't woman enough to take my man.
Before I get started on my top 10 list, make sure you guys leave your favorite films from Dwayne Johnson's filmography down in the comments section down below. Let's have a good conversation about him. But coming in at number 10, The Rundown is my number 10 pick, and this is a movie near the beginning of his run in Hollywood, and he plays a character who would like to open a restaurant one day. However, he has to go do a bunch of stuff for this one guy, and the guy asks him to go get his son, who's played by Seann William Scott, and Seann William Scott's in some trouble with a local, big wig down there, played by Christopher Walken. And what I really like about this movie is there's some really good comedic timing and chemistry between Seann William Scott, who we might know him as Stifler from the American Pie movies, and Dwayne Johnson. I wouldn't think that they would have good chemistry, but there's some pretty funny moments in there. I also like the passing the torch sequence with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's a fun time. There's some really good laughs and there's some good action. It's one of those movies I used to watch quite a bit when it first came out. Next pick is Gridiron Gang, and this is a very underrated movie that doesn't get talked about a whole lot now because it was, again, one of those earlier movies that he was, but it shows that Dwayne Johnson does have some acting chops. He co-stars alongside Exhibit, and these two guys are coaching football players how to be respectful and working hard. But these players are not just your average high schoolers. No, they are people who are in prison, and they're in a correction facility, so they're getting, learning how to be a team and working together and not being so, stuck in their ways of the crime ways, So it's a really cool story to see them, and it definitely shows Dwayne Johnson does have some dramatic chops in him as well. Get Smart is a film that he is not the main star of. He is the supporting character, but definitely shows that he has some acting chops and the charisma to pull off the best smile in Hollywood. And it's just really funny to see him go up against characters like Anne Hathaway and Steve Carell. And this is, without spoiler, but because for a movie that's a little older, he is actually the villain in this film, which is really surprising to see because you don't really see him as a villain so much, which I would like to see maybe be a villain from time to time. But Get Smart is a really funny movie that it's not the Dwayne Johnson's movie, it's more Steve Carell's, but I think Johnson gives just enough out there to show that he can stand out as a comedic actor as well. I'm a huge fan of these disaster movies, and San Andreas is a movie that definitely had to be on my list. It is over the top craziness that ensues in this film, just stuff being destroyed by this earthquake on the San Andreas pipeline, and seeing Dwayne Johnson flying his helicopter, trying to save his daughter and his wife, his ex-wife, and it's just really crazy to see Dwayne Johnson and all his machismo going out and battling Earth and their quakes. But it's a fun film from start to finish, and I definitely think that it's worthy to be on a top 10 list. If you're talking about a fun, guilty pleasure type of movie, San Andreas is something that I'm definitely going to mention every time. Snitch. Dwayne Johnson is spectacular in this movie. He is kicking a lot of butt, but he plays a father in this movie who works undercover with the DEA to try to get his son out of prison, who was set up with this drug cartel deal. I like seeing Dwayne Johnson go up against the cartel and try to figure out where the drugs are, who set his son up, trying to find all these different things. I thoroughly enjoyed this film from start to finish, and definitely seeing, Dwayne Johnson taking that type of Fast and the Furious route, having his action-y star, but not being totally Hobbs in this film. It's really fun to see, and definitely one of the movies that you should definitely go out of your way to watch. Walking Tall, I never thought I was going to put it this high, but for the sake of one of his earlier movies, I had to put it up this high because it was really fun to see him play this cop in this small town, trying to take back his town from the big bad guys in this film who are drugs and casinos and all this stuff. And it's really fun to see him play this cop, not caring about, what the rules are or who's in charge. He's going to try to take back his town. I really like that as well. It's one of those movies that probably is not the best made film or has the best plot. However, if you're talking about Dwayne Johnson movies, one of his earlier movies, you gotta mention Walking Tall. I think that's probably one of the better ones out of his early filmography, so I'm putting it at number 5 for that reason alone. Talk about a trio of idiots in this film, but Pain and Gain, directed by Michael Bay, has to be mentioned this high because I love the performance that Dwayne Johnson gives in this movie as Paul Doyle, one of the 3 bodybuilders. The other 2 are played by Mark Wahlberg and Anthony Mackie. However, each character brings something idiotic and stupid to this character. How are these characters so dumb? These 3 bodybuilders get caught up in an extortion act, and they're trying to kidnapping schemes as well. So ridiculously, so over the top, so fun, and just hilarious to watch. And Paul Doyle, Dwayne Johnson's character, is probably the best part of this movie. And talk about some acting chops with some comedic timing, right? Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Who would have thought a couple years ago that we needed to see this film? And this movie was really great. I remember when this was announced, like, oh, they're going to ruin the classic Jumanji film. However, I feel like this one's actually even better. See Dwayne Johnson as this, kind of weak, technically being played by a pretty kind of like shy kid who is allergic to everything, but he gets put into this avatar who so happens to be this really tough guy who's amazing in this game. And Dwayne Johnson has such great comedic timing with all the cast, Kieran Gillian, Jack Black, and Kevin Hart. It's full of fun moments that made me laugh out loud. It gets me excited for a second or whatever, a third or fourth of Jumanji, whatever the case may be. I love seeing these characters. I'm so excited to see what's going to be next. And I definitely feel like this movie was one of Dwayne Johnson's crowning achievements to date. You're welcome. Yes, the voice of Maui, the demigod in Moana, has to be my second favorite Dwayne Johnson movie. He gives some great animated voice talent in this. He gives this movie some credibility. This is a great Disney film, one of my favorite ones from the recent memory. And he even sings in this movie. I can't picture Maui being played by anybody else but Dwayne Johnson. He definitely gives everything he can to this role. He has all the charisma in the world, brings Maui to life, and makes him feel like a real character that I would love to see. Maybe a live action version of The Rock playing this character. However, we do have this animated movie, and I like seeing the animation style in this film from the characters of Moana, Hey, Pua, and Maui, of course. And all those tattoos, I thought that was a really creative idea that they went with. And it was just a fun story, and I loved how our characters didn't have a love interest, but they were just offsetting, trying to save the world, trying to find the heart of Te Fiti. All right, I'm bunching up the Fast and Furious movies. Yes, Hobbs is his best character. I'm thinking of a Dwayne Johnson character. I'm thinking of Hobbs. However, I feel like Fast 5 was his best movie as Hobbs so far. Really look forward to seeing Hobbs and Shaw. However, Fast 5 here's when he was first introduced into this movie. You know some butt was about to be kicked. He was about to lay the smack down on his enemies. He's going after our favorite car driving family with Dom Toretto as the leader. And Dwayne Johnson definitely was a menacing presence. He was a badass in this movie. He was out to get his man. He wasn't going to take no for an answer. And I liked how he had this like really menacing presence. This is probably the closest he's actually been to a villain other than Get Smart, which is like the comedic villain. But this is probably the closest we've seen to him being a badass villain. And I thought he pulled it off really well. I really liked seeing the overall arc of Hobbs. Now he's one of the best characters in the Fast and the Furious franchise. And it's just the most memorable for me is Fast 5. So definitely going to put that at the top of my list. But that's my top 10 list for Dwayne Johnson movies. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, guys, I hope you guys hit that subscribe button and join the conversation because I want to know what your guys' lists are. I really do. Let me know in the comments section down below and hit that thumbs up button. And also, my name is Adam, and this is a ranking video. I love talking about movies, and I'm thankful for you guys. Thank you so much. Till next time, I will see you next time. And the millions!